I'm joined by very key guests. Seated on my immediate right is Kimani Mwangi, our political analyst. Seated right in the middle is Honorable Nabi Nabwera, who's the Lugari Member of Parliament and also a member of the Public Accounts Committee in the National Assembly and that of the Education. Maliba Arnold on the far end is the Head of Policy and Public Affairs at the UDA party. Now, remember the Kibwezi West Member of Parliament, Mwangi Mutuse, tabled an impeachment motion seeking to remove the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua from office with 11 grounds cited. Now, the public will be, of course, engaged or will be given an opportunity to participate. And so far, today's sittings in the National Assembly have been suspended to pave way for the MPs to visit their constituents. And this is just some of the reactions from the ground.
Kama Rigathi anaenda, waende pamoja. Tulipiga kura moja hivi. Hatukupiga kura mbili. Na kama Rigathi anaenda, na waende wote.
Kwa nini wanataka kumwacha kwa barabara? Akuja ground hapa. Wale ni MP 200 anataka kuwapea pesa wa impeach. Wajue ground hapa tuko na tujapotea, wale walikuwa wako na tuko hapa na tubanduki.
Kwamba katika ile mambo wanafanya, akumbuke yeye anataka kwenda miaka ingine 10. 2027 atatupata ground. Ile kura yetu tulimpigia kwa sababu ya Rigathi. Kama hata ichunga leo, hata 2027 asikuje kwa sababu hata ipata.
Tuko na ushugu mwingi sana na hii serikali yetu. Kwa nini wanauliza hii Deputy President wetu kutoka Nyeri? Hawa mbunge tuliwachagua. Kazi yao ni mambo ya kuimplishi wale wengine. Sasa tunauliza, mutatufanyia kazi lini na mutatupeleka na mwelekeo gani? 2027 tuko ground na ni sisi tutakuwa huko, mutatukuta.
He was meant to say to impeach, just a slip of the tongue. Well, I just begin this conversation with you, Honorable Nabi Nabwera. You know, before the impeachment motion was tabled before the National Assembly, this is what you wrote on your Facebook page. I have asked colleagues and I haven't gotten any sensible answer. Now, Kenyans, help me. Why should I participate in impeaching Gachagua debate? What do I stand to gain by impeaching him? How will Lugari constituency gain? Is Gachagua why the education system is collapsing? Is he the architect of Adani haste? Is he the reason we have poor health systems? And of course, you added that it was really not necessary for you to support the motion. Did you vote in favor of the motion or not?
We have not voted.
Did you sign? Let me just reframe my question. Okay. Did you sign to support the motion to be tabled?
Let me explain something first. A disclaimer here. You know, under the parliamentary procedures and rules, given that this matter is live, I will want to request that we don't discuss the substance of the debate, of the motion, because I wouldn't then be out of order. That's
well noted. But yes, we are beginning from a point that you wrote on your page that you will not...
Let me just respond.
But you voted in support of the motion.
No,
or rather you signed.
You know...
Let me reframe it. You signed in support of the motion.
Yes, and if you read my post, it is here. There is nowhere I said I will not sign and I will not support. But I raised issues. You know, for almost 6 months, you may not know, around Parliament, there we've been on this issue of people talking about impeaching Gachagua. And you say it is sometimes we would go into the house and you just find people in the dining, they are discussing this issue. But where is this issue? How important is it? And I still hold the view that as a nation, it shouldn't have been one of our priorities. As a nation, we have critical issue. As a nation.
But by signing the impeachment motion, you're giving it life.
We have to dispense of it. By the way, we can't...
So you signed for you to deal away with it?
Yes, let's deal with it. Let it come on the floor. Let us resolve this issue once and for all.
So what did Kenyans tell you? Because you're asking them a question or questions.
Which Kenyans? You know,
The ones you try to engage on your social media
yes,
platform.
they told me that it's not one of the major issues. Actually, the response from Kenyans, they said this is not a priority. Their priority is the economy, health, education, roads. That's what they say. But then, let me tell you, you cannot stay in a state of anxiety forever.
So you are defending your
Let's
signing of the motion as...
yes, let's deal with it. Let's deal with it and solve and settle this matter.
So by dealing with it automatically means that you're going to vote in support of the motion? Or when the evidence will be tabled,
I've told you, Chacha, it
thereafter?
is not the right time to discuss the substance of the motion. You are getting into it. That's wrong. Yes.
It's for you specifically,
him
because
specifically?
there is a contradiction.
No.
Honorable
I'm not
Nabina
going
Bwera,
to tell you.
that you appear to tell Kenyans that you will not support.
I have not
everyone.
said that. Can you read it?
I have asked colleagues and
Yes.
I haven't gotten
Does that mean
any
I've said
sensible
I'm not
answer.
supporting? What if Kenyans have told me
Maliba,
we have argued?
you are a communication expert. From what I've read, what did Mheshimiwa try to insinuate here?
Actually, for me, those are open-ended questions.
Yes.
I think he was trying to solicit opinion. He feels like he's not convinced that it's worth the go, but then he wants to get the feel from the ground. That's what I get from that.
Good guy.
But then my input on this would be this, that leadership is important. You're not going to talk about management without talking about leadership. We have got good and robust plans. We have got the plan. Initially, we were just working alone. Now we have got a broad-based approach, and we are putting together everything to ensure that we deliver public goods for Kenyans. And this small issue, of course, we at the party consider it as a small matter that Parliament should have dispensed of it a long time ago. Ideally, if it were in the party and we had a problem, you see how we deal with issues in the party of leadership swiftly, we would have already dealt with it, but then our constitution does not allow us to actually deal with it swiftly. But if it were in the party, we would have sorted this thing very, very fast. We would have met at 5 p.m., 5 a.m., 5 p.m., at 9, and dealt with it, and it will be clear. But then this is now a responsibility that Parliament has to take care of. But then it's important for us to tell Kenyans that as much as in the 12th night, Shakespeare speaks of some people are born great, others work for greatness, and others have got greatness thrust on them. We must actually remind leaders, including Mheshimiwa seated here, that there is no entitlement to leadership, including members of Parliament. And that is why I'm thinking that even as they dispense of this particular issue, they need to pass the Impeachment Procedure Bill 2018. It's been in Parliament for far too long. We are using so many ways of getting around issues when it comes to accountability. So issues of accountability, holding our leaders to accountability, why don't they pass the Impeachment Procedure Bill so that then when you are impeaching a governor, when you are impeaching a CS, you want to impeach a president, you want to recall a member of Parliament, it should be much easier. What we now only have, by the way, in law is how you can actually recall an MCA. But we know that in practice, when time comes to recall members of Parliament, we will simply use the MCA's law because the MCAs are actually members of Parliament. Mm-hmm. But then at county level, they no longer come up with bylaws. They actually come up with laws. Mm-hmm. So they are a legislature, as it were. So that issue needs to be dispensed with. Secondly, Kenyans should not be afraid to hold their leaders to account. Once you become a member of Parliament, by the way, it says you are a member of the National Assembly. Once you become a leader who has been given a responsibility, let's always remember one thing, that seat or position, we confuse a lot of these things, that positions and people sometimes, we conflate and try to make them look as if they were one. So this issue needs to be dispensed with. It's not a big one. Mm-hmm. Newspapers are giving it headlines. For us, we think it's a small matter that should be dealt with quietly because there are important things to be dealt with. Mm-hmm. Number one, there is the health issue. Number two, there is education.
That's well
we need food. Mm-hmm. Article 43 is far more important than Chapter 6 for us because after having a good constitution, a progressive one, living in a democracy, electing your leaders, being able to speak up your mind, you should be able to actually see that reflect in your pocket.
Kimani.
Yes.
Even as the threshold for one to table such a motion is about 117 members, and according to Honorable Nabina Bwera, who is among the 291 MPs who signed to support the motion to be tabled in the House, if such members then would have denied the requisite threshold, this motion would have not made it to Parliament. And in fact, perhaps Parliament would have used the time to discuss more important issues. And Mheshimiwa here even asks, now, what do I stand to gain by impeaching him? He will also be responding what he stands to gain by supporting the motion.
Right. I don't consider it a small matter. When we have a motion seeking to impeach a deputy president of a republic, that's a very major issue that a country has to really ask so many questions about it. Firstly, you cannot run a government when people who are supposed to be a symbol of national unity are always at loggerheads. Think of a region like Mount Kenya today. We have MPs who can't meet eye to eye because of the differences of where does your loyalty and support lies. We have leaders who've been called names and leaders whose even lives have been jeopardized because of this issue. So it's been a very major issue that has been with us for far too long, and it was time to deal with it. I would look at it from this angle. When there is irreconcilable differences in a couple, then it is time to let go of the marriage. For the sake of the nation, especially for us as a country, because I can tell you, as long as these differences keep emerging, as long as we have a deputy president and a president who can meet eye to eye, and they're supposed to work for this nation, then you can rest assured that they're not going to perform for us, they're not going to deliver for us, because you see the deputy president has been, at some times, he has been against what his government stands for. Now, when a government comes up with a finance bill and the deputy president is at the forefront telling us it is a bad thing, and you know that the finance bill is aimed at getting the government money to run, and you have a key person as senior as the deputy president telling us that thing is bad and joining those who are anti the government in fighting it, then you understand that as a country we are at a point where we truly need to make some decisions. So I think the motion to impeach the deputy president is a motion whose time has come. Not because, in my opinion, he's a person who must go, but because it is good for the nation. It's good that for once we settle this. Either they make peace once and for all and move on, and if that can't happen, then we sever ties and look for other ways to move forward, because country must move on. People must get the services for which they elected the government, and such services cannot come to the people uncompromised if there are wrangles at such high level of government.
There were directions that were given, or communication from the chair, that is the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, as far as this matter is concerned. That is, actually it was yesterday during the afternoon sittings, and also there was the morning sittings where this matter also resurfaced. Listen in.
Clarify that the public participation program additionally contemplates the collection of views at the constituency level. In this regard, I confirm that the officers of the clerk shall be present to assist the collection and compilation of views from onward transmission to the office of the clerk through the respective collection compilation centers specified in the public advertisements.
That the public participation we intend to do is public participation that is very granular, right from the polling station all the way to the county. With that, Honorable Speaker, therefore necessary that we retreat tomorrow and we don't have a sitting tomorrow afternoon as the norm is as per our calendar.
A maximum of 60 minutes for the mover in moving and 30 minutes in replying, and a maximum of 5 minutes each for any other member speaking, and that at least 2.5 hours before a vote is taken on the motion, the Deputy President, or President as the case may be, shall be accorded an opportunity to be heard in accordance with Standing Order 67B2.
We propose that on Tuesday we have a morning sitting and an afternoon sitting, But the afternoon sitting will only end when the order of the business for the day is concluded.
Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Honorable Naminda Bwera, you are among the 291 MPs who supported the motion, of course, by signing the Mwingi Mutuse motion seeking to remove Gachagua. And now you'll be receiving 300,000 Kenya shillings for the public participation. This totals to 87 million for the exercise.
Where did you get the figure?
You had a public you had a baraza yesterday in the National Assembly. These are details that...
I was in the baraza and I...
So how much are you going to get?
I don't remember any time they talked about money.
So you're going to use your own money?
I mean, public participation, it's not the first time, by the way, we are doing public participation. We do public participation every day. Even on that paper we had noticed, there's a notice of public participation for a Senate bill.
There's a facilitation from the National Assembly. How much are you going to receive
the facilitation,
as a member?
Facilitation is given to staff who run the process. Please.
So per constituency, 300,000 Kenya shillings?
No.
How much?
No, I don't even know how much the staff are facilitated with. All I'm required myself, I'm going to my constituents to mobilize my people, to tell them to go to a place where they will give views. In fact, for me, let me just tell you, for me, I've simply, I don't know. Please, don't insinuate. The problem with you run with rumors. I heard of 2 million, 1 million, 300,000. In fact, there was another one from
Gachagua's side that MPs who signed the impeachment motion got 5 million Kenya shillings.
Who will afford that? That's nonsense. That's nonsense. Utter nonsense. And that is how he has lost it.
So there was no financial...
Even those people who wanted to be as objective as possible, when you insinuate an improper motive for... I mean, that's how he has lost it. For God's sake. You don't insinuate improper motives. By the way, many of us like...
so there's no monetary gain for you specifically to send the motion?
There's no monetary gain. There's no monetary gain.
No 5 million, Mheshimiwa? Or now 300,000 for the public participation?
That is nonsense. I can't sit here to debate nonsense. Please. Yeah.
Maliba,
yes?
Such an exercise, would it really be conducted without a budget? Just to be honest.
Well, he's said that staff are actually facilitated.
Exactly.
And then, of course, definitely, he will be facilitated.
Staff under the MP's office.
I'm saying...
just a clarity.
He is an employee of the Parliamentary Service Commission.
Well, just a moment. Mheshimiwa, which staff are being facilitated?
Just a minute. If you read the papers, and I have seen you, they have even indicated the people, the places where we'll have. We have collection centers, 47 of them, one in every county. Each is manned by two clerks. Each collection center is manned by 2 clerks. Now, the hall must be hired wherever they are. Security must be provided. The other support staff who are local will be hired to help the clerks do the work.
So it's proper to still say at least 7 million will be used. Not specifically you getting 300,000, but a budget of around 7 million will be used to facilitate
Chacha, can I help you this?
Process.
Allow me to help you do this. Chacha, public participation, one of the problems we've had with public participation is that we've never been bold to implement it as envisioned in the Constitution because of cost. It's too costly. That is why, up to now, we are still using guidelines. We've had a public participation bill in the National Assembly for over a decade. We've failed to deal with it. As we speak now, we actually have got a sessional paper on public participation because courts keep on penduluming between do we go qualitative or do we go quantitative?
Exactly.
Because you look at the rulings, in one aspect, they go qualitative. In another ruling, they go quantitative. So we need to have a threshold and a framework that deals with that. But public participation as desired by Kenyans is so costly. Then to answer that question of the cost that is being used, first and foremost, it's not going to happen in a vacuum. So if you're going to have Parliamentary Service Commission staff going out there, you definitely have to facilitate that. There is no sin in that. It is something that we gave ourselves. 67% of us voted for the new constitution. Secondly, even if he wasn't going for public participation, but he's going on the ground, they will take care of his traveling allowances.
Like
so that goes without saying. So what I'm saying is that we are trying to come up with a very funny explanation on a very basic process. But then, allow me to go to the substance of why this impeachment process is important, but not a big issue. The president is the head of state and government. He is the symbol of national unity. This is the guy who actually is ambassador number one. He is the vision bearer because we go with the manifesto and the policies thereafter and everything. So if the presidency has got a problem, I'm trying to address first of all what Simon spoke about, a marriage. I'm assuming when Simon speaks about a marriage, he's speaking about the president and the deputy. There has been in this country a notion that the presidency, we have got co-presidency of sorts. Did you? It doesn't exist. But de facto, ever since the days of Jubilee, there was TNA and then there was UDA. There's this feeling of there being a co-presidency of sorts. And therefore, when people say that we're going to sever this marriage and then move on, politics is not a love affair. You don't have to love somebody to work with him. You have to look at interests that actually work. And specifically in this particular incident, we're talking about the public good. Therefore, if the president is unable to administer state, to provide public goods, to go out there and do his work as required for the people of Kenya, then it is something the people who are supposed to action work on it. That is why Parliament, as the house of the people, really need to come in. So, as a symbol of national unity, when we're talking about the symbol of national unity, the president says this and the deputy president says this. As in, one of them has to decide if he is the leader of opposition or an assistant to the president.
Well,
secondly, just wait.
For this sort of time.
Allow me to send that point home properly. Because if you rush me, we are going to lose Kenyans here. So, a symbol of national unity. As in, there is one head and then there is a neck. We cannot have the neck arguing with the head or the head arguing with the neck. Well, they have to work in sync. If that is problematic, it has to be solved.
I'll still be getting back to you on the same.
No, just wait. Secondly, Kenya cannot wait. 3 months ago, we have had Gen Zs in the streets. We have not sorted the finance bill yet. The problems that brought people in the streets have not been solved as we speak. Our children are struggling to go to school, yet we have got a small wrangle somewhere that is actually pulling us back. We need to solve that.
Did you listen to what the Kenyans that we interviewed there have said?
You see, there's even something called purposive sampling. I do not know whom you send on the ground, but it's also possible that the people who edited behind scenes chose the most critical one. It's called purposive sampling, so that I know.
Kimani, quickly, on the issue, especially of the budget, Honorable Nabina Bwera has dismissed that he'll not receive 300,000 the same, but there are millions of shillings that are to be used to facilitate this process.
Yes.
Was it really necessary and the timing?
No, it
was, that we are even struggling to hit our revenue targets.
When I look at what the National Assembly is doing, I like it. I would imagine that the public participation is aimed at having people give their views on this matter, which is a matter of national importance. It is a deputy president who was elected together with the president by the same people. If he must be impeached, it's good to hear what the people want to say. Now, if you must go to the people, you must get them into a place, listen to them, sample what they say, then compile a report on the same, which will inform actions going forward. Then it is necessary first, as Maliba says, to fund the process. And it is also necessary because it is constitutional.
Will their views also be incorporated?
That's how it should be. The law, by the way, participation of the people is among the values and the principles of the Constitution.
Allow me to cut you short at this juncture. We'll take a short commercial break. When we come back, we'll still be focusing on these matters and also the timing of Gachagwa's ouster. Others have, believe that it should have come after it's evident whether Raila Odinga has won or lost the AUC bid. He could perhaps team up with Gachagua for 2027 purposes, and it will be a hard task, an uphill task for President Ruto to be re-elected come 2027. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.